This video is designed to give you insight into the operation of the T51 and the two-color process. Before beginning, you should already be familiar with running the AB-Dick 9800. It is also a good idea to read through the operation section of your manual so that you will be able to follow the video more closely. We'll begin with two-color basics. A good place to start in learning the two-color process with the T51 is a discussion of fountain solutions and inks that have proven to work well over the years. We have found that most one-step fountain solutions work well in the T51. The optimum results can be achieved by mixing 1 ounce of fountain solution per quart of water. With oil-based inks, 2 ounces of fountain solution may be necessary. If alcohol is used, it should not exceed 10% by volume. Mix your solution for the parent press as recommended by the press manufacturer. As the press runs, the image from the parent press is put on the blanket first, the T51 second. The ink is then removed from the blanket by the paper, and the process is repeated. The lighter ink should be run in the parent press when overprinting, because the blanket will be relatively clean after printing to the paper. It is important that the colors be printed at the proper density to ensure that the overprinting area will appear as intended. The tack of the inks is vital when overprinting. When the parent press has placed ink on the blanket, ink from the T51 may not be pulled from the plate in the overprint area if the ink tack is not adjusted properly. By adjusting the ink tack so that the T51's ink is less tacky than the parent press, it will release better from the plate. The tack of your inks may be adjusted by adding a paste-type tack reducer to the T51, and if necessary, adding body varnish to the parent press. The transparency of the ink being overprinted will determine the quality of the image that can be achieved. If the quality of the image that you are getting with a particular ink is unacceptable after adjusting the tack, the ink may not be fully transparent. If this is the case, knock out the area in question and use the registration capabilities of the T51 to register the images. All of the process colors are transparent, as are many other variations, and will overprint well. Metallic and fluorescent inks are not fully transparent and may not overprint properly. When not overprinting, the rules as to ink color order, tack, and transparency do not need to be followed. Read the operator tips section of the manual for more information about printing two colors with the T51. In the last segment, you learned about the single blanket principle, the importance of ink colors used, tacks of inks, and the recommended fountain solutions for use in the T51. In the next section, you'll be shown the location and use of the T51's controls. It is a good idea to familiarize yourself with the T51's controls before you start. This knob is the infinite water control. It allows you to make water adjustments over a broad range. Notice the arrow on the knob. Turning the knob in the direction of the arrow will increase the amount of water that you are feeding. By working with this adjustment, you can find the exact ink and water balance necessary to run your job. As a general rule, about 2 notches showing on the water indicator is a good starting point when the correct setting is unknown. The lever next to the knob is the water ductor lockout. When the lever is up, the water ductor will not make contact with the water fountain roller. This lets you run the parent press alone without adding water to the T51's water system. When cleaning the water system, the lockout will keep your water fountain roller from becoming inked. Push the lever down when you are ready to run with the T51. Directly above the water controls is the ink ratchet control. The bottommost position is off. Moving the lever up will increase the ink feed rate. It is best to set the control in a midpoint position and then work with the ink fountain keys to get an even ink film on the roller. The height of the water in the water fountain can be controlled by adjusting the thumb screw on the water fountain bottle holder. If the water in the fountain is too high, turning the thumb screw counterclockwise will adjust the water level downwards. On the operator side of the press, at the top, is the ink fountain crank. This can be used to manually turn the ink fountain roller for adjusting keys, adding more ink to the system, or cleaning the fountain roller. Just below this is the plate-to-blanket pressure stem. When your T51 is installed, it will be set to have a 5/32 inch or 4 millimeter stripe on the blanket when the stem is in the center or 0 position. By using the stem, the operator can adjust the pressure down to 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters or up to 3/16 of an inch or 5 millimeters, plate to blanket stripe. This is primarily used when changing from one thickness of plate to another, such as from metal plates to paper plates. To make this adjustment, loosen the Allen screw on the inside of the frame and move the lever up to decrease or down to increase the pressure, and then tighten the screw. The black knob on the operator side of the press is for cleaning the water fountain roller. Many operators also use it to rapidly clean the plate on startup. If used in this way, it is recommended that you make no more than one turn of the knob so that the T51 image does not get washed out. The T51 has 3 form rollers. Number 1 and number 2 are ink form rollers. The number 3 form roller is the water form. The form rollers are contacted to the plate by using the single lever control. With the single lever control to the far right, the pointers on the handles will point to their current position. If the pointer is at the off position, the form roller will not contact the plate when using the single lever control. Turning the handles clockwise past the off position and removing the form shaft will let you remove the form rollers from the press. When getting ready to run the T51, start with the single lever control to the far right position. All 3 form handle pointers should be pointing to the on position. Moving the single lever control to the first stop drops just the water form roller on the plate. The second stop adds the ink rollers. Moving the lever to the last stop, or to the far left position, places the T51 plate cylinder against the blanket. The hub of the single lever control is for engaging and disengaging the T51. This will be discussed later when we show you how to use the T51 swing away. On the inside of the T51 plate cylinder is the micro vertical adjustment and plate skew adjustment. The hole in your side cover is used for inserting either the T-wrench or the horizontal micro adjustment tool. These will all be discussed later in greater detail. In the last section, the controls for operating the T51 were explained. Next, we will prepare for running by inking the presses, registration of the parent press to the sheet, and mounting plates on the T51. When overprinting, begin by putting the darker of the 2 inks in the T51. Be sure that your water system is inked as well. Adjust the ink fountain keys to ink the presses evenly. Place the water bottles on the 2 presses. To prevent scratching of the T51 plate, the parent press plate should be mounted first. Start the registration process by registering the parent press plate to the sheet, just as you always would. Once this is done, it will not be necessary to adjust the parent press plate or feeder. Any adjustments made from this point on will be to the T51 plate cylinder. The T51 plate may then be mounted. If you are using the trail edge clamp, the thumb screws on the lead edge clamp should be screwed fully out to allow pivoting of the lead edge clamp. Place the plate on the lead edge plate clamp and turn the press over by hand until you are able to attach the trail edge clamp to the plate and tighten the clamp screws. Be careful not to over-tighten the clamp so that the holes do not become elongated. If you are not using the trail edge plate clamp, the nuts on the trailing edge clamp thumb screws must be tight to prevent them from working loose during a run. To use the straight edge clamp, adjust the straight edge clamp skew knobs so that the clamp is parallel to the lead edge of the cylinder and does not pivot. Lift up on the lead edge combination clamp lever and insert your plate. When the plate is positioned where you want it, release the clamp. After preparing the presses for operation, the next step is adjustment of the T51 image using vertical, horizontal, and skew adjustments. The operational sequence of running the T51 with the parent press is important to prevent migration of the two inks. Be sure that both plates are running clean before imaging the blanket. The parent press image should be printing on the paper. The T51 should then be put on impression. The reverse should be followed when stopping the press. Take the T51 off of impression, run a few sheets with just the parent press, and then stop the paper feed. When registering the T51 to the parent press, remember that you can make more than one adjustment at a time. This may seem difficult at first, but if you get in the habit, it will increase your productivity significantly. After running a few sheets with the T51, look at the images and see if the T51 is printing high or low. Loosen the torsion rod 1/2 turn using the T-wrench. Make sure that the 7/16 inch micro adjustment nut is loose. Turning the hand wheel clockwise will move the T51 image towards the gripper edge. Use the micro vertical clamp as a reference to the ring gear. This is for adjustments greater than 1/16 of an inch, or 2 millimeters. If the T51 image is to the left or right of the parent press image, use the horizontal micro adjustment tool to move the image. Notice the decal on the tool shows you which way the image will move when you turn the handle. This horizontal move can be made while the press is running as well. Check the image for skew. If the image at the trail edge of the printing is off in a different direction than printing at the lead edge, you must make a skew adjustment. With metal plates, use the trail edge clamp skew knob. Loosen the clamp screws slightly. Turning the knurled skew knob clockwise will move the trail edge of the plate away from the operator side, and counterclockwise will move the trail edge towards the operator side. Tighten the clamp screws. To skew when using paper plates, it will be necessary to free the plate from the cylinder. Loosen one of the lead edge skew thumb screws and tighten the other one. Be sure that the clamp does not pivot after adjusting the screws. Use the micro vertical adjustment when the images are within 1/16 of an inch, or 2 millimeters, or less of being in register. Tighten the nut on the micro vertical clamp. Loosen the torsion rod with the T-wrench. Turning your wrench on the micro screw towards the gap of the cylinder will move the T51 image toward the gripper edge. One full turn of the micro screw will move the image about 1/32 of an inch, or about 1 millimeter. When proper registration has been achieved, the next step is to balance ink and water on both units for your particular application. Check any overprinting areas for proper trapping. Adjust the tacks of the ink if necessary so that the T51 image will be trapped properly. You will find that because of the single blanket principle, that you will employ less water when running two colors than when running either press alone. Once your fountain keys have been adjusted, you should work with the water controls to achieve solid, crisp copy without toning. That was a lot of information to take in. You may want to review the last section again to fully understand the adjustments necessary to register the T51. The next segment is the use of the swing-away. At times, it may be desirable to disengage and swing the T51 away to run just the parent press, clear a paper jam, or to gain better access to the feeder or blanket area. Begin by removing the drip tray, work organizer, and water fountain bottle, and drain the water fountain. If you want to keep registration, insert the T-wrench into the torsion rod hole and note the position of the parent press cylinder pointer on the scale. With some practice, this procedure will let you swing the T51 into position and be in vertical registration after swinging away. Remove the T-wrench and rotate the disengage knob clockwise so that the ring gears no longer mesh. Use the hand crank to adjust the height of the swing-away so that the lift fingers engage with the locking shaft. The safety latch should snap into place. Unplug the wire harness and turn the locking shaft counterclockwise to engage the lift fingers. Loosen each of the clamp sleeves 5 full turns. Loosen the lock knobs and release the turnbuckle ends from the upper mounting brackets. Using the crank handle, raise the T51 so that the T51 clears the side frames of the parent press and swing the T51 away. Attach the replacement safety guard by tightening the clamp sleeves. To reinstall the T51, remove the replacement guard, being sure that the clamps are fully open. Swing the T51 in and guide the hold-down shaft into the lower brackets as you lower the T51. Reattach the turnbuckle ends to the upper mounting brackets and tighten the lock knobs. Turn the locking shaft clockwise to release the swing-away lift fingers and plug in the wire harness. Push down on the safety lock and swing the mechanism out of the way. Tighten the clamp sleeves, starting with the non-operator side first. This is important to keep proper registration. If you are maintaining registration, place the T-wrench in the torsion rod hole and turn the hand wheel until the pointer matches the position noted earlier. Rotate the disengage knob counterclockwise to re-engage the T51, being careful to see that the ring gears mesh properly. Loss of plate to blanket pressure can result from improper engagement of the ring gears. You may now replace the drip tray, work organizer, and water bottle. With some practice, you will be able to swing the T51 away in a matter of minutes. Next, we will show you the cleaning and care of the T51. To prevent damaging your oscillators, avoid harsh or abrasive cleaning agents when cleaning your T51. Remove the ink fountain and clean the ink fountain roller. Be sure to lock the water ductor out before proceeding. Cleanup sheets are used on the T51. Mount the cleanup sheet on the cylinder as you would a plate. Start the press and squirt a small amount of solvent on the ink rollers and water rollers. Move the single lever control to the water and ink position. Continue adding solvent as the rollers dry until the cleanup sheets appear to be unable to remove more ink from the T51. Repeat as necessary with another cleanup sheet until all of the ink is removed from the rollers. The water fountain rolls should be cleaned and desensitized daily. If your press is new, it may be necessary to do this several times a day at first to keep the water fountain roller running clean. Use chrome cylinder cleaner on the roller and then desensitize with gum arabic. The plate cylinder can be cleaned using the same A.B. Dick products you use on the parent press cylinder. The rollers should be hand wiped on a regular schedule to prevent glazing. The guards, covers, side frames, and metal covers should be cleaned with a mild solvent. Lubrication should be carried out as indicated in the parts section of your T51 manual. A legend for the lubrication symbols is located in the back of the manual. Proper lubrication and cleaning of the T51 will ensure trouble-free operation. You may want to read the operator tips section of the manual for more information on the operation and maintenance of the T51. The next section is an overview of the 9880 and the 9890 T51s and how they differ from the 9800 in operation. The operation of the 9880 and the 9890 T51 is very similar to the operation of the 9800 series. The impression block screws on both sides of the T51 must be adjusted to change the plate to blanket pressure. Loosen the nuts and back the impression block screws out so that they do not interfere with the T51 during adjustment. Loosen the 3/16" Allen screw through the side cover and use the T-wrench to turn the yoke adjuster. Turning the adjuster clockwise will increase the plate to blanket pressure. Place the T51 on impression against the blanket and adjust the impression block screws so that you have slight pressure on a pull strip of 20-pound paper. Lock the screws with the nuts and check to see that the plate to blanket stripe did not change and that the pull strip still has the same pressure applied. The underslung ink oscillator has a tensioning device which must be unscrewed when removing the oscillator. It will stop turning when it is at its full travel. Tighten the hanger all the way when reinstalling the oscillator. To disengage the T51, the bolt on the adjuster should be tight or the plate to blanket pressure will change. Turn the yoke adjuster counterclockwise with the T-wrench. Loosen the lower clamps. Swing the arm into position and raise it using the power switch so that the cradle brackets engage the tie rod. Release the lock knobs and push the swing arm power switch up. Release the switch when the swing away clicks. Swing the T51 away. Lift the guard into position in front of the cylinders. While it is not necessary to swing the T51 away to mount a plate, you can use the cylinder crank to assist you in mounting the plate. Place the crank on the shaft and engage the ring gear. Position the cylinders so that you can insert the lead edge of the plate into the clamp. Tighten the clamp screws with the plate clamp wrench. Rotate the cylinder and insert the plate into the trail edge clamp. Tighten the clamp screws and remove the slack from the plate with the thumb screws. To reinstall the T51, lower the guard in front of the cylinders. Swing the T51 into position and hold the power switch down on the swing arm until the press sits in the lower mounting brackets. Attach the turnbuckle hooks to the upper mounting brackets and release the swing arm from the T51 using the safety catch and motor switch. Tighten the lower mounting brackets beginning with the non-operator side. Engage the T51 with the T-wrench, being careful that the ring gears mesh properly.